Welcome back, terrestrials. In this episode, we're doing a very special 4th of July episode. Episode.
Yeah,
You might be wondering why there's a bunch of blue. You say Jacob doesn't usually use blue, he prefers purples and oranges and
yeah, I
things.
was thinking the same thing.
Well, our 4th of July movie has the ocean involved. And before you polluted it because you're a horrible human, it was blue.
Yeah,
Um, this episode we're doing Jaws. Everybody loves Jaws. Let's talk about it.
yeah, everybody loves it. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
everybody
like I
loves
don't.
Jaws.
Do you know anybody who's like I don't prefer it?
Blase
Like,
about
you know?
fucking
Yeah,
Jaws.
yeah, yeah. Like I mean, you know, it's Jaws, guys.
Yeah, it's
Um, it's Jaws. Uh, but all right, let's get it out of the way. Grade, yes,
S.
exactly. Now moving on. When did you see this in your childhood? Like,
Oh my.
was this super early or was it later or is this
I
your
mean,
first
I
time
knew of
seeing
it.
it?
I mean, it's been parodied so much, but I didn't sit down and watch this late, I would say. Maybe early teens. Other than like the
Interesting.
millionth time it was on television, I'm just like, like I knew some
Yeah.
things. Usually I would catch it like right when they're on the boat.
Mhm.
Like the whole beginning or like the beginning would be starting, and I'm just like, I don't wanna watch this and shit. But it wasn't until later did I really truly appreciate this movie and be like, oh, I get this movie now. I know what it is. It's not just a fishing trip, It's like, oh, okay, that's fucking cool. And that was always like my
So
my
let
my
me,
history with the movie.
all right, so let me ask you this. What is it outside of a fishing trip?
It is a revenge story, fucking spanning 5 movies with this goddamn fish. No, it's a mystery. Well, it starts as a mystery,
Let's
like
circle back to that. I wanna discuss that. Continue, but I want to put a pin
the
in that.
mystery part. Okay,
No, not
so
the mystery, but
but yeah, it's a mystery and it's an action adventure movie because it's fucking Spielberg, but it's also a horror movie. Like
right.
anybody wants, no, it's a horror movie, like through and through, but it's not like horrifying because of like the axe wielding murderer. It's just the fear of what's in the ocean
Hmm.
and the shit we can't see in the ocean,
Hmm.
and fucking that's where the horror comes in. Like this is a movie for all generations. My teenager likes horror, my youngest likes action adventure, and like my husband likes Spielberg, and me, I just want to watch
I
like
just want everybody
a
to shut
cop,
up for
a cop struggling,
right.
a fish out of water cop story.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so that brings up an interesting point of five Jaws movies.
5.
There's five Jaws movies, but there's only four Jaws movies. So that Revenge of the Jaws movie is not a part of this series. There's only four Jaws
Well, it
movies.
goes Revenge 3, 4, and 5, right?
No, there's no fifth Jaws movie. That's
Okay.
why I'm not sure. Let me just double check.
Because there's the one where the police chief has to go get the son of Jaws, and then there's one where the wife goes
The son
and
of Jaws.
yeah, goes after Jaws, and then there's the one where
Yeah, so there's
like
four Jaws movies.
Michael
There's
Caine, and then there's one where they're in the underground ocean and they have that really bad like CGI fucking Jaws and shit.
so that's what I was saying about there's five Jaws movies, but there's only four Jaws movies.
There's only
So there's
one
Jaw.
Jaws movie, and it's called
Well,
fucking
all right,
Jaws. And
yeah, all right,
if anybody
true.
out there wants to say, well, Jaws 3 actually has some really good redeeming qualities, don't give a shit. Fucking, there's
Uh,
one Jaws movie.
all right, so there's Jaws, Jaws 2, Jaws 3D, and Jaws the Revenge. But there is another movie out there that uses the title Jaws, but it is not part of this series
Right.
of Jaws movies. But that's why I was like, oh, put a pin in that and come back to that because no. But yeah, so like this movie, I saw it when I was young. And I definitely did not, when I was younger, I was probably 8, 9, 10, somewhere in there.
Hmm.
I didn't understand what I saw it like a child that you would expect a child to see it. Like,
Right.
you know, obviously this is the first blockbuster summer movie by accident. It
Hmm.
missed its release date because it wasn't being like there was issues. It was
Right.
supposed to be dropped in 1974 at Christmas time. It doesn't get dropped because it gets pushed back because of some issues.
Hmm.
So it accidentally comes out at a time in America in the 70s when dumb movies got dumped. This is when there was no cell phones, there was no internet, there was no video games like we know today.
Right.
So everybody was out doing things during the summer. They didn't go to the movies during summer.
Right. There was no
Winter
like.
was summer movie time, or winter was the movie time. So
Hmm.
this missed its window and accidentally created a phenomenon, which still continues to this day. Marvel tries to drop during the summer,
It's less
big.
in
It's definitely,
today's
I'm not saying the
market.
quality of work is as good. Sinners was banging, but it's few far in
That's a
between.
springtime. That's May. That's spring. It's
Okay,
not a summer
Jerry. All right.
blockbuster like
Hey,
that Fourth
let's
of
nitpick
July,
this
like
until it's
Men in
not.
Black, Independence Day, fucking Wild Wild West. Fucking, I remember that as a kid. Like, oh man, fucking summer blockbuster season's getting ready around the corner. Yeah, I'm done.
All right.
I'm done.
So anyways, this movie comes out, starts a thing. Um, but I didn't know what I was seeing. Now, like when I
Right.
look back and I watch it, it really honestly, like I noticed it, as I get older, because I watch this movie often. Me and my daughter just watched it recently
Hmm.
for her first viewing of it. But Robert Shaw's performance in this movie, like for a drunkard
Yeah.
out of nowhere, like,
Just
this is.
Ebo Cat. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean he's so much more than that. Like he is this like version of what we deal with today of this old-timey like not gonna let it go.
Yeah.
And that's what we're experiencing today really big is like they're just not going to release the reins. Richard Dreyfuss's character Hooper
Hooper.
um knows better than Quint, but Quint will not allow him to
It's
know
the
better.
difference between intelligence and experience.
Right. And those two things are colliding in this movie
Right.
harshly. Sometimes Quint's right, sometimes Hooper's right, but you just see
Technically,
this.
Hooper was the most right because he made
He
it out.
was, well, he was the
Spoilers,
most
everybody, if you haven't seen this fucking movie.
he was the most right, but he was also not because he went and hid and let somebody else have the problem. So also
It's like,
he
come out of
wasn't
here.
technically he wasn't even supposed to. The variation between the book and this movie is massive. Hooper's supposed to be dead.
I don't give a damn about no book.
Well,
You
okay.
know that. It's
Um,
if it's on the screen, we're talking about movies, fucking
yeah,
like,
but
oh
it's
yeah,
still part of the
fucking, you
storyline.
know,
But there was a lot more to this movie, and they simplified it quite a bit. Hooper was
perfectly.
supposed to be sleeping with the sheriff's wife.
Yeah, see,
Like
fucking
they the original the book itself, like there was a lot more elements to it.
right,
I
right.
think that they rightfully remove those elements, but in
You
doing
have to.
so,
You can't
they
shoot a book. You can't just page by page. You can't shoot a book.
I mean, they've been successful in the past with some things, but I agree for the majority of it, I agree.
Right.
Uh, but when I was watching Robert Shaw talk about the USS Indianapolis,
Indianapolis, yes. That's the
that
best part of the
that's
movie.
yeah, that is such a good scene. And
Right.
again, the reason I say this is because when I was a kid, I'm watching this going, "Where's the shark? Where's the shark?" And now I'm like, now I'm excited for this part.
Yeah.
Like and you see, Dreyfuss and Shaw like buddy buddy on in the boat in the middle of
Right.
the night, and
We're gonna do in there.
they hate each other.
Yeah.
Off screen they hate each other,
Yeah,
and they're
fucking
buddy
booze
buddy.
makes everybody friends
Well,
and shit. I
yeah,
don't like to drink alone and stuff.
well, that's
Fucking
the thing. Shaw was hammered the entire movie in real life. Like he was
right.
drunk the entire movie and he still was a piece of trash. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so like that's not true. It doesn't make
Yeah, just a
everybody
method
happy.
actor. He's a
Yeah,
method.
yeah.
And
It
they've
was a
cut out.
method that put him right in the grave too.
And it's
Um,
so funny because in the if you ever get a chance to see the deleted scenes, there's one deleted scene that I wish they would have kept in here. So Robert Shaw's character, Quint, is going to um a music store. He walks in, he's walking through the town and you see him, he goes into the music store
mhm,
and he asks for piano wire point zero gauge or whatever. And the girl behind the in the music shops goes, "Boy, those fish sure do eat this stuff." And he looks at her and he says, "No, they choke on it." And I was like, "Oh, that's such a good line delivery. It's fucking amazing. Why didn't they keep that in there? I mean,
yeah, it's
timing,
good.
yeah, but fucking it's so cool just on
Well,
his character."
you know, that's that's cool, and that would have been something that I mean, it's definitely a throwaway scene, but it's definitely something that could have helped because later in the movie we see him saying like, "Oh, I chewed through the piano wire," but like
Yeah,
also MythBusters busted that. Like they will absolutely, it doesn't have the tensile strength to just. I remember that because I was like, "Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this right now?" Like they
right,
did a whole Jaws special where they just busted a bunch of stuff from Jaws, and I was like, "Why are you doing this? Like,
right.
go blow something up." Go do something else.
Because they're
Like not
Mythbusters.
Jaws. You
Yeah,
don't do Jaws. But
it's too beloved.
yeah, you leave my magic alone. All right. All
Right.
these horrible things in this world, and you want to take Jaws from me. Um, but like, but like, yeah, that would be a good scene to have left in there.
It
Um,
gives Quint a little bit more in town personality
mhm,
because the town, I would say, next to like you got, your sheriff who's a major character, and like, all right, I'll just say it now. I like the Quint scene, but
mhm,
I also like the sheriff scene after the mother confronts him, you knew there was something in those waters and you said it was okay. And he just sits at home and like his kid is oppositing him, like he's like,
mhm.
and like the kid, and like he's like, like he says something to him, but I
Mhm.
like that because he's emotional.
Yeah.
You see,
Well,
like,
that's the dynamic of them.
yeah, I
Quint is the
failed.
hard, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I
But like Quint
failed.
is the hard head,
Right.
Hooper's the smart, and he's the emotion.
Yeah.
And all three of them together need to fight
What's the
this shark.
sheriff's fucking name? Chief. That's all I know him as.
Oh
Fucking
yeah, Chief. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, his name is Roy Schneider, I think, or Scheider. I'm not sure how to spell his last name. We're gonna get hate for
right.
that. But yeah, I mean, like the town itself, they don't really develop that town in this movie. And obviously, you don't want to spend a lot of time. You get the gist of it
Yeah,
because
but
the
like,
mayor's
cause
kind of a dick and he's, mayor politician style,
right,
like we need money, we need to make money, whatever.
right.
Um,
Y'all want to
you
go
know,
on welfare?
yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I do. Fucking, and I just see this is just deliveries of Shaw that's really great. But back to the town itself, Amity, that's my another Anna Janet Jolie, fucking Monica LaBucci and shit. Fucking,
Yeah.
it's Amity. Anytime I watch this, it's Amity. Um, but just the town itself, like we a lot of times when we watch movies, we like to be like, okay, where's the ground? What's the dimensions of like,
Mhm.
this place? And even though we don't get it, we get the idea. Okay, this is like one of them small coastal northern towns, in
It's
off of
Long
the
Island. It's a little Long
yes,
Island
yes,
area.
I think it's Boston.
What?
I think
This
it's
is
out at
no, this is Amityville, New York,
is it
where
no
Amityville horror happened. This is New
no,
York,
is it not?
Jerry.
It's not
He
there.
literally, yeah, it's Long Island.
Is it on Long Island?
Yeah.
Why
Did you
about I
think
was
this was happening in Boston all these years?
yeah, like
No,
out in Massachusetts.
no, Jerry.
No, it's
This is
Martha's Vineyard, isn't it?
it's fucking Amityville, New York. Are you kidding me?
Siri, where was Jaws filmed?
It's filmed in Martha's Vineyard, but it takes place in Amity, New York. It says Amityville on or Amity Police on his Bronco, which by the way, you know how hard you got to go to have a top-down Bronco as a sheriff? That's dope.
Yeah.
Hooper in Stranger Things drives a Bronco, but he keeps his top on.
So do you think the house, like there's that one shot where like the mayor and chief are arguing and on the ferry,
Mhm.
and the doctor sitting there and going, it was a boat accident. But the whole like you yell barracuda, and everybody says, "Huh?" You say shark, but there's clearly a house that looks like the Amnemy horror house that has the windows.
I didn't notice it, but it could be
Yeah.
because that's where it takes place in New York.
Okay. No, I didn't know that. I thought it were all staying because they even do the car
Well,
and the
because they talk
yacht
about
and
it. They talk about it on that ferry ride. He's like, people will very easily go to Long Island or Martha's Vineyard.
right.
So,
Another thing is, and I know this is out of left field, but I
sure.
want to, because I noticed this time on my watching, okay, so Quint and Richard Dreyfuss are comparing scars and
Mhm.
stuff,
Mhm.
and the sheriff looks at like a scar,
Mhm.
and he's getting ready to be like, "That's nothing. I was shot," or
Mhm.
whatever the reason that he took this job out of New York City. Do you think like that was like was he just like, oh, my belly itches, or do you think he was like,
No,
I
so
got I got y'all.
that was not that was not planned, but also a real scar that was an appendix that he had removed. That's why he
Appendix
that's why in the movie
exploded on the baseball field. Fuck
yeah,
him.
that's why he lifts it up and goes, nah. Because
No.
it doesn't compare. It's a
Right.
nasty scar, but it doesn't compare. But yeah, the actor had his appendix removed.
Okay,
So
because
that was a real scar and everything.
yeah, because I was looking at it and I thought it was like because they mentioned back on not why he left New York,
Mhm.
but like he doesn't want to like he
Yeah, he's
didn't
not
want to
the
be in New
city
York. He
guy.
got this cushy job in this fucking like this town,
Mhm.
that's an island, and it looks like a pretty much a boardwalk. Did you tell the kids to stop kung fu fighting on
Right, right,
they're kung fu fighting on the fences,
right.
and that's a good job right there.
Yeah.
Fucking,
Yeah, that scene, yeah, that's how that actually played out. Oddly enough, funny thing that that actor also did was you're gonna need a bigger boat was ad-libbed.
yeah, definitely.
That wasn't in the script, which obviously becomes one of the most famous lines
Yeah, you're
from
gonna need a
that
bigger
outside of like again Shaw delivering that
the
the black
doll's
eyes and
eyes,
yeah like
and they roll over white
yeah
chief.
but yeah so like that com that delivery of that story and then that line are the lines of this movie
Yeah.
um but yeah and and it's funny because like so Shaw wrote that uh that dialogue.
Yeah.
He wrote that scene. Somebody like gave him like a rough draft of a scene that they wanted him to say, and he rewrote it. So again, just massive talent from him.
Hmm. Another,
What a shame, what a waste. But
yeah. Oh, well, I
uh
mean, he was in other stuff, but nothing
right, but
compared to
he died
this
at
character.
54.
But yeah,
So
but uh, there is a complete difference. I think he was drunk for most of like the Scar scenes,
mhm.
and then he did it sober when that's the USS Indianapolis
Yeah, so
speak.
apparently the story goes, he was hammered and he delivered the line, or he delivered that monologue, and it was trash. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Um and they were like, all right, well, fuck it, we gotta move on. And he called Spielberg and was like, I'm really, really sorry, give me one more shot. And then sat down and did that scene, that is the first take that he did,
Uh,
and just fucking nailed it.
yeah.
So
Stone
yeah,
cold, man. Fucking
yeah,
the way
dude,
he's delivering it.
yeah,
It's
absolutely.
it's like, when you hear war stories from someone that's actually been there and they give you that like they don't want to tell it, but they're gonna tell it and shit. And then like they tell this like fucking cold ass story
Mhm.
about the situation they're in, but it end on a joke. Well, we
Yeah,
delivered the bomb. That
yeah.
that delivery, especially at the end, that's what puts that cherry on top is
Mhm.
that, you know, I'm telling you all this whole this stuff from that happened to me, but it's all right.
Well, it's an interesting concept because that story is real. Well,
Right.
it,
It's an
it's
event
not
that actually
it's
took place.
right, it's not verbatim, but
Right.
it is extremely close to what happened.
Right.
And himself being a veteran, he was in the Air Force, I believe. So, or the Royal Air Force. So
Yeah, it
it
would have
wasn't the
been.
American Air Force, but those two things combined, I think, gave him the perfect storm of being able to deliver these things in
Hmm.
such a manner. Um, but I also like that, like, again, what a talent, what a great job, but then also what an insane, horrible person he was to work with on the movie. You know what I mean? Like,
Who, Richard Dreyfuss?
yeah, no,
I'm sorry, I
it
don't like Richard
wasn't.
Dreyfuss. Fucking,
I
I don't
mean,
know.
I have
It's
to. I'm not. This isn't Devon Sawa. I don't give a shit. You
Yeah,
cannot like him.
fucking. It's not even that character. I mean, like Richard Dreyfuss probably, he's been in some great shit throughout
Yeah,
life
for
and
sure.
whatnot, but there's just like nothing. Like I like him a little bit as Hooper, but then again, that's his character where he's just like snarmy and stuff, and like, yeah, you're all gonna die,
Well,
or
yeah. I mean,
fucking,
he's
or it's just like what an ass.
there.
Fuck you, dude.
There's part. Well, but you got to look at it from his point of view. He comes to this town and he's trying to tell these people they're not listening. The sheriff's listening, but nobody else
All
is
right.
listening. And he's based like that's why at one point he goes like, "Hey, just fire me so I can go home because nobody's going to listen to me." So like then he goes and sits down because that's right after he tells the mayor like, "You see the scale on that billboard behind me? That's actual size."
Yeah, that's
And the
actual size.
mayor's like, meh, 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 and then wanders
Yeah,
off.
I was
And he's
doing the
like,
best
so
interest of the town.
yeah, yeah. And he's just like, I just fire me. I don't care.
Right.
Like, so I get his like snarkiness, but I also get him trying to flex his knowledge against Quint's just experience.
Right.
So, and like, you got the sheriff, he might as well be like the wife in this like scenario of just like everybody calm down. Like, you know what I mean? Like trying to be the mom to fighting kids, like calm down, and also trying to like be helpful, but not knowing how to do it. Like he doesn't know anything about boating, the ocean, anything like that. So how can he be of any use? He's kind of staying out of the way, letting them do it,
Right.
and then try to be helpful where he can or do what he's told essentially.
Correct. Um, Another thing I noticed in this movie too, this watch around. All right, so the events take place. Okay, and Quint destroys the radio.
Mhm.
Do you think he destroyed it because of pride? That no, I'm bringing this shark in. I
Absolutely.
told everybody I'm going to bring this shark in, and if
Mhm.
anybody comes out here and gets a 25 footer, he even says it when they're driving the boat back in, and he's like, "Wait till the taxidermy man sees this."
Mhm.
Like, do you think it was just his
I
pride that was his downfall instead of being like, "Yeah, this is a little bit more than what we can take care of. We
I
need
don't
big guns. We
know.
need a bigger boat."
So there's a couple things. That's a good question. There's a couple things to it. So number one, his story, right? He has a vendetta against sharks. Like I mean that 100%. He has as himself has a vendetta against sharks
Right.
because his crew was eaten by sharks.
Yeah. You're the
So
the shark that took my bosoms, buddy, or whatever the fuck he says.
just like Happy Gilmore has a problem with that specific alligator that took
Right.
that Carl Weathers' his hand. I forgot his name. Happy, I think, but or something. Anyways, but not only that, you can tell that it's a vendetta because he names his boat the Orca, which is the
Yeah.
only predator to a great white shark.
That's a good
So
point.
he is out there trying to kill a shark for this reason. It's not fame, it's not money. All those things are going to come as well. It's not the taxidermist necessarily. Again, these are all additions to it. He is out there to hunt and kill this shark, maybe for like cathartic reasons, just like
Right.
I need to kill this shark so that all my friends can rest easy or
Right.
something. You know what I
But then
mean?
why didn't he go out at the beginning when all the fucking like 20 when they
Well, because he knew none of them fucking
got the tiger sharks and
he knew all them people weren't going to go out there and get it. They were in little tiny sailboats and
I
shit.
think he knows the cash is online and he can come in and fucking what did he ask for? 25,000?
Yeah, like
Fucking
when all those dum dums, they were 5'6" to a boat the size of a canoe. You know what I mean? Like they're not going out there and getting the shark. He knew that the shark was not a tiny shark. He was waiting for them to be done playing in the water before he went in and did his business.
right.
So yeah, but that's another reason like this movie is so Quint to me because of that. Like
Right.
he has vendettas against sharks. He like, everything about him is like so when he does smash that radio, which funny thing, the guy that calls in to be like, "Hey, we got a call from Mr. That's Steven Spielberg."
Yeah.
But when he smashes that, it's basically him being like, "It's me or the shark. This ends one way or another. One of us is going
Yeah,
home."
he's portraying the Ahab
Yeah.
of like he's basically found his Ahab moment where
Mhm.
the prophet alone and the revenge,
Mhm.
like, it's the shark that took my tattoo and
Mhm.
shit, fucking.
Yeah.
And
I think that Hooper and Chief are I don't I think I say this lightly, but I think that they're kind of expendable to Quint. Like
yeah,
this is Quint
well,
doesn't
Hooper
see
drives the
them.
boat
Right. Well,
and Chief throws the chum.
right.
Fucking
But Quint and this shark are the adversaries here. These two are just there. So
right,
if they get lost in the mix, they're gone. Whatever, no big
right.
deal. He needs to see it out with this shark.
Hmm.
Obviously, he loses. There was some theory that Quint never died. There was some theory that he was
You can bring
inside
this
the
up.
some. Is that the one that you told
The
me?
well, the one where like yeah, well, no, that when he at the end where he shoots the
That Quint
tank,
was alive
that
in
that
the
Quint was
stomach.
just alive, like it's like Steve Zissou and shit. Fucking Escoban was eaten. He got swallowed whole, chewed. Like, yeah, that shark bit him in half. Like he
Yeah, yeah,
literally,
yeah.
that shark bit that man in half.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
if he wasn't dead
He would
by
have
the
drowned
time,
anyway, so
he would have been in shock and basically, yeah,
yeah.
he would have drowned.
Yeah.
and inside that stomach because there's still water, there's still salt water going around,
Yeah, for
you
sure.
know. And
But maybe the salt water would have healed the wounds,
oh yeah,
and
like
then
a
he could have
like a
dove out of the shark's butt like Jim Carrey out of the rhino,
oh my God,
and
fucking
then
that
he
should
would
have
have been
been
around for
Jaws the
number two.
Revenge. Fucking like he comes out of like the Jaws's butt like in
Yeah.
Ace Ventura and
Yeah.
shit. Fucking like he's like fucking farewell and adieu to you.
They they also in on Mythbusters were like, hey, get the air tanks don't blow up like that. And I was like, again, why are you doing this to me? But I was also thinking about it. I was like, they didn't really show a tank blow up. They showed a tank decompress quickly. So instead of like fire explosion, it's just a release of a massive amount of air at once,
Right.
which if the shark was holding in its mouth, potentially could do that. That's just me. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a mythbuster,
Yeah, like that's
but
the one thing where it's like in movies and would this really happen? It's like it doesn't fucking matter. Like people that all the time like where they're watching like Star Wars and they're like, yeah, no way a ship in zero gravity could bank, like that
Mhm.
and they're like, like drift and it's
Yeah,
like it's still fucking cool,
yeah.
It's still cool.
But I
Fucking
mean, to be fair, on this channel, we've done that exact thing. Is like
right.
nitpick some. I think you did it earlier in this episode. I'm not sure. What
Yeah,
was it
it
that you
wouldn't
were
happen like
nitpicking
that,
about?
you know.
What was it that you were nitpicking
Fuck
at
if I
earlier?
know.
Oh yeah,
I
okay.
don't
But I
know.
was just wanting to know if that's what we did earlier, and then we're
Fucking, I don't
like
know.
in the same episode going, "Don't do shit like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Uh,
That last question though that I got for this evening is the horror movie argument. Okay. This is a horror movie. Why is it a horror movie? Because Spielberg loves to put shine on fucking movies and it does have that Spielberg shine,
well, yeah,
but it's still a horror movie.
yeah, for sure. It's a horror movie. It's a shark eating people. But not just that, like all the tense scenes, like all the camera angles that sit you at water height,
Right.
the isolation of being in the middle of nowhere, even though in the background you can see land in one, but that was an accident. It
Right.
wasn't intentional. They're supposed to be in the middle of
Fucking
nowhere.
HD.
Yeah.
Fucking TVs.
But the the isolating factor, just same thing of like the strangers, you're isolated in a cabin, there's something trying to get you, there's
Right.
no help there, it's the same mentality. So yeah, it absolutely has every element of horror. Again, we see with Poltergeist, Stephen King does, or Steven Spielberg throws his stank on it
That
and
shine.
makes it kind of mystical, whimsical, which it didn't hurt this movie. I mean,
It
honestly, if this
didn't.
movie were to be more gritty,
Or
then
darker, yeah.
yeah,
It
I
would
don't think it would
not
have
work.
worked as well. I think that this is the perfect combination of Steven Spielberg and horror.
Yeah.
So, I think it
More so than
absolutely
Poltergeist. I know you like
right. I
Poltergeist,
love
but
it.
I find that this works where Poltergeist does have a tendency to be kind of like in a few
Well,
scenes,
in a
but
few of those scenes, we see them playing with the ghost, right? In the
right.
beginning, when the mom first sees the ghost, she's like putting her daughter on the chair and letting it
Yeah, roll
slide
the
across.
ball. Yeah, and shit.
That's Steven Spielberg type shit,
Right.
but it is what it
But
is.
we're not talking about Poltergeist, so
Well, no, but it's still a good
you
movie.
had to defend your
But
movie.
yeah, of course. But like we see that again later in other styles of movies, like there's Poltergeist, there's Jaws. um
Saving Private Ryan.
okay.
Schindler's List.
Okay,
Fucking yeah,
sure,
there's
yeah, why
there's
not,
a
yeah,
that playful attitude and stuff.
yeah, yeah,
And
that playful attitude.
no,
um
I mean like in Jaws. I mean, not in Jaws. Fucking in Jurassic Park. Them
yeah,
Janes.
exactly, yeah, yeah,
Like yeah, the Raptors are eating, but Jello.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Fucking
yeah, exactly. Life finds a way.
right.
So but yeah, I think that this is like the perfect, but it's kind of like Predator, right? Like Predator's a horror movie, but it's an action movie. This is a
Yeah.
horror movie, but it's an action movie.
Right.
It's just
What
got
category,
this, yeah,
where does it go in the
right.
VCR?
And
I
I
mean, the
think
video
that
store.
right. And I think that if you want to put it in horror, it goes there. If you
It's
want to put
fine.
it in action, it goes there. You like it, there's no wrong to this
Right.
movie because everything is done so right. I know it was a nightmare to film, and the
Well,
shark,
yeah. I mean,
Bruce,
that's why I think it works well too, because we don't see a lot of the shark. And
4 minutes.
until that head pops up out of the water and he just like
Yeah.
and like he just leans back and he has that cigarette just fucking dangling and it's
Mhm.
just like yeah, fuck,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
good. And that's when it,
Um,
hits you.
4 minutes of screen time. The shark had 4 minutes of screen time.
Yeah, Bruce,
Mhm.
fucking like it's good because too much of shark, you see right through it. You
Yeah.
see the jokiness and the jottiness of this robot, and
Well,
it's just like
one of the things that they did really well is because, yeah, that shark, looking at it in today's standards, you go, wow, that shark looks fake.
right.
Especially in those scenes, because sharks don't come out of the water and sit on top of the water and do this. Like, it's not something that a shark does. It doesn't have the
But it still
capability
looks
to be that.
badass.
It looks phenomenal.
Right.
But one thing that they did that was really smart was that scene with the cage. They
Right.
got a normal size great white and built a small cage.
Yeah.
So it looks massive. And you see this real shark getting tangled up and fighting to get away from it.
Yep.
It looks like obviously it's thrashing to get away, and you can kind of tell that.
It gets tangled
But
up in the cords and shit. Mm.
it's violent, it's thrashing, it's trying to get away, and it looks huge compared to this smaller size.
Gives you
So
perspective.
yeah, it gives you perspective, but it also makes you go, oh, that, yeah, real shark. Like,
Hmm.
it puts it back in your mind. Like when Quint shoots the shark up close and it shoots into the bottom of the mouth, that was a real shark. So that puts it in your mind, real
Hmm.
shark. It's these little moments where they use these real sharks that go, oh yeah, it's a real shark. So then when you see that thing come out of the water, you're still thinking real shark. So your
Right.
mind buys it a little bit easier than going, ha, look at that. That's not how sharks do things.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it.
No, this is how the monster Jaws does things.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
but in that case, Jacob, you gonna go see this in the theater?
Yeah, I would.
I think it's ridiculous that it's the 50th anniversary and it's not in the theater this week. So,
Luckily, the pool up here is going to play it
oh,
when
are they? Cool.
yeah. So
Would you,
own a physical copy. I
yeah,
have all of the Jaws movies on VHS and
yeah,
DVD
so
and
do I.
digital. So um,
I do. And the same. It's one of those physical copies that I think is just like handed out with Tide. So
yeah.
that's an old reference. Is this a cult classic?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it is.
No,
Well, no.
no,
Yes and no.
no.
Because
If the cult
well,
is
yeah, no.
everybody,
Right,
then
yeah.
it's
Yeah, you're
no
right. You're
cult.
right. You're right. You're right.
Fucking
Right.
no, it's
It's
not a
not.
cult.
Yeah.
It's just a
Well, wait, hold on. Did
beloved
you just
movie.
Christianity?
Yeah.
Hello? But yeah, no, you're right. It's beloved by everybody.
It's
And
beloved.
but see, that's the thing though, because a lot of these people don't actually love the movie or have seen it, but they wear Jaws shirts because it's an iconic thing.
It's an iconic
Granted,
thing.
not a cult classic, but I don't think a lot of you people actually like this movie.
No, I
Anyways,
think yeah, like that's a
that's a whole nother
very
topic.
yeah, that's a whole nother topic.
That's the hot girl at the bar with the Metallica shirt that's never heard Metallica.
Metallica, but it
Uh,
looked awesome.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
got crosses on it.
yeah. It's got crosses and skulls and broken
Yeah.
glass and things.
Would you recommend this movie?
Hell yeah,
I would definitely
go
recommend
watch
it.
it.
Yeah. It's a perfect 4th of July movie. Like for the horror people that want to watch like a good 4th of July movie. This Return of the Living Dead, but this has more just that feeling, of like, yeah, Jaws.
Go watch it in a